Deputy Boyd Barrett to move for leave to introduce.
Murphy's taking what is it? Some of it, 1.5.
All right. There's not very equal distribution of time, I notice, among your.
Depends on what your spokesperson for, the lead spokesperson, Count Corla, in a particular portfolio.
Anyway.
I moved to introduce the Mortgage Interest Rates Cap Bill 2023, first stage. So hundreds of thousands of mortgage holders in this country have been absolutely fleeced and crucified with mortgage interest hikes over the last year or so, with 10 interest rate hikes by the European Central Bank. There's approximately 130,000 tracker mortgages in this country, all impacted by these enormous, relentless hikes by the ECB, approximately the same number of variable rate mortgage holders. To give you one example of someone in my area who I know well, their interest repayments have increased. Single working mother, one child, her interest payments have increased by €6,500 in the last year, and that would be about average for, say, a 3% increase in on an average mortgage of about €300,000. Now, just how on earth are working people supposed to sustain that level of increase in their outgoings? €6,000 and €7,000. If you're unlucky enough to have a vulture fund, in particular, holding your mortgage, they are charging rates of 6%, 7%, 8%, absolutely fleecing and crucifying people. And of course, while many people in Europe have seen the impact of these ECB rate hikes, in Ireland we have higher mortgage interest rates than anywhere else in Europe, significantly higher than the average in Europe. And of course, that then is reflected in staggering profits being made by the credit and financial institutions and by the banks. So the mortgage interest hike misery being suffered by hundreds of thousands of working people in this country is reflected in, for example, the Bank of Ireland making €1 billion in profits in the first 6 months of this year, an increase of about 180% profits. And that's typical of the sort of hikes. This can't go on, and the government cannot wash their hands of this and say there's nothing significant that can be done. And the small bit of relief that was given in the budget is a drop in the ocean compared to the misery and loss that people are suffering. So we are very simply proposing what a judge in one mortgage case actually did in a court to limit the mortgage interest to 3%. And we are proposing that a law should be introduced, and that's what this bill does, where the central bank would be empowered to do precisely that, to cap mortgage payments at 3%, so no more can be charged. If that also has the effect of driving all vulture funds out of the country, we'd be delighted. Their mortgages should in any event be absorbed by the pillar banks, and indeed those pillar banks should start to be run in the public interest and not simply for the profit of shareholders. So this bill is an attempt to actually address the interest rate hike misery of hundreds of thousands of people, and we hope the government would support it.
Paul Murphy.